responsible environment that spells care.
And if you don't use them and take advantage of them, it's your own fault. We really have some great resources between our three speakers here. I'm going to introduce each of our speakers. They're going to go through their presentation. We realize the screen is small, but I want to assure you that the presentations will be posted on the Take Care Cape Cod website within a couple of days. So anything that the fine print you can't read, that's okay. You'll be able to read it when you download it, when you go to the website. So my name is Meg Morris. I'm one of the co-founders of the Cape Cod Anti-Litter Coalition. Our main focus is litter, and of course, single-use plastic plays a big role in what we have to pick up. Single-use anything, frankly, we pick up a lot of that. But we've been involved, as Jill said, since the beginning. So this is 5 years of summits on many different topics, but generally we can always bring litter into the discussion. So we're going to start this morning with Amber Schmidt. Amber's with ReThink Disposable. She's been working in the environmental and public health nonprofit sector for 10 years now. She started her environmental journey canvassing in Connecticut to pass laws on a variety of issues. Her love of the ocean drew Amber to Rhode Island 8 years ago, where she became a canvas director for Clean Water Action. She's looking forward to bringing her experience and passion to her new position with Clean Water Action, being the New England Zero Waste Organizer, focused on the reduction of single-use disposable foodware and utensils. So Amber, you're on.
Is this working? Okay.
Yes.
That's working. Fantastic. And thank you everyone for having me today. So we're going to talk about food packaging, litter, and our oceans. The packaging industry is the largest growing consumer of synthetic plastics derived from fossil fuels. Food packaging accounts for 50% of plastics derived from fossil fuels. Single-use bags, plastic bottles, food containers, and food wrappers are the four most widespread items polluting the seas, making up almost half of the human-made waste. So I don't think any of these numbers are surprising to anyone in here. I like to just go over a little bit about the issue that we have with food packaging. Recyclable and compostable materials, you'll see up there only 9% of plastic that's ever been produced has been recycled, and only 1% of compostables nationwide actually accept compostable plastics. You heard earlier about the issues with that. So we really feel that we need to move back towards reusable items. Many recycled items contaminate in the single stream system. So even when we're trying to recycle properly, unfortunately, if our neighbors are not, those entire truckloads oftentimes get diverted directly into a landfill. We also have issues with compostable materials containing toxic forever chemicals, PFAS chemicals. We do not want to be switching to compostable items that can be contaminating our food and causing issues with cancer. And I'd also like to say compostables are great, even when they are PFAS free, but everything disposable, we still feel that it reinforces the single-use disposable mindset, which we really want to have a cultural shift away from. So why reusables? Obviously, litter reduction. Fast food and takeaway packaging accounts for up to 88% of the world's coastline litter. Every minute of every day, the equivalent of 1 truckload of plastic enters our waterways. And that's a local statistic. People and planet forward. 85% more climate friendly than single-use disposables, less toxic additives, as I went over. Life cycle assessment, it uses less resources, including water, and reduces burden on fence line communities, which lose 10 to 20 years of life on average from air and water quality issues due to oil and plastic production. The overview, what ReThink Disposable does. So we offer free and collaborative technical assistance to remove barriers to change. We handle product research, procurement, delivery, setup, and storytelling. We provide funding. That's a big one that a lot of businesses struggle with when they want to move from single-use disposables, is the initial purchase of reusable items. So we do have stipends and funding that we actually purchase reusables for institutions. And that funding is doubled for women, BIPOC, and LGBTQ plus business owners, people in the community who often face even more hardships when owning a business. We've had 567 businesses signed up. This is between California, and we've just recently expanded with a NOAA grant into Minnesota, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and the 3 states that I work in, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. We've had 40 institutions signed up, and we've eliminated 28 million single-use disposable items so far each year that these programs have been implemented. So our process, we go out in person and walk into restaurants, schools, other institutions to talk directly with the owners of these spaces that are using single-use disposables. Face-to-face interaction is still one of the best ways to get community engagement. So we, as a lifelong canvasser, I still feel that personal connection is really important. It's also really important when we do our outreach that we're able to hear feedback on issues that owners may have with moving to reusables. So by being able to be in person, we're able to have a collaborative discussion, really get down to the issues, and also explain why it's really important that we work through those issues and move forward so that we can reduce our trash. The next step in the process, once a restaurant, institution, school wants to switch to reusable items, whether all of their items or partial items, because we are not going to force anyone to take on more than they can handle, right? Smaller steps are better than not being able to implement something because we're looking at such a large, drastic change. But what we'll do is we will conduct a single-use disposable audit. So this will include looking at invoices. We will get the price of the cases, how many cases are ordered. We'll also get the case weight so that we can also know how much in weight we're reducing from sending to landfills, incinerators, or possibly being polluted into our environment and waterways. So it's a fairly in-depth audit of reusables, single-use disposables, and then from there, we'll look at which reusables can be replaced, which of these items we can replace with those reusables, and we'll research that. So we will find reusable replacements. If we're working with schools, we are currently only purchasing stainless steel items for schools, and we have those tested under some pretty strict standards. Testing for lead, cadmium, chromium, and nickel. Again, we don't want to be replacing single-use plastic items that contain toxic chemicals with reusable items that could also possibly contain toxic chemicals. So it's really important, especially when children are going to be using them every day. And then we will purchase them. As I mentioned, we have funding available to be able to help institutions make this switch. And that is through subsidies from our NOAA grant, as well as our longtime partnership with plastic-free restaurants. And then we go ahead and I will deliver them to the location. So we get them, if it's quite bulky, we may ship directly to the location, but if it's a smaller order, I'll go ahead and purchase those and then bring them to the location. We will set them up, whether it's front of house or back of house. We will educate staff for working with the school, we're educating staff, students, teachers, volunteers, custodial staff on practices to be implemented. And that's not just using the reusable containers, it's also making sure that in restaurants they're asking, would folks like to dine in on those reusables? Make sure that you're keeping things like straws and plastic cutlery for takeout behind the counter where folks need to ask for that. We'll follow up usually after a few weeks of implementation. We want to make sure that we're not just providing these reusables and then stepping back and saying, great, have a great day. We want to really make sure that the program is going to have the longevity that we're looking to have. That's how we're going to make an impact, right? We can't just do this, have utensils get thrown away, and then decide that, you know, the business is going to switch back to single-use disposables. So we want to follow up. And in that, we will also follow up to see if there's other items that we can help replace. Again, this is not an all or nothing approach that we have. We're very much willing to work on very small steps at first. And then we find that after a few weeks, months of doing that, businesses really do want to take it upon themselves to go further. And then we will also determine if we want to create a case study. Perhaps it's a new institution that we've worked with or a different type of business or restaurant. We have dozens and dozens of case studies from our California office where this program started over 12 years ago. And the results, restaurants, institutions save lots of money. $3,000 to $20,000 in annual savings. The 10 school district that I'm working with in Connecticut is going to see a savings of $100,000 in 1 year from implementing reusables in their school, and that is including the dishwashing, the added labor, the added water usage, and electricity from running a dishwasher. So usually we'll see an elimination of about 110,000 disposable packaging items per restaurant that switches. Preventing 1,300 pounds of waste, again, from entering a landfill, getting sent to an incinerator, or, again, polluting our environment and waterways. And we see an overall 60% reduction of targeted packaging items. The average payback period, the time for when institutions will see savings and businesses will see savings, is about 4 months. So 4 months after purchase, the owners will start to immediately see that in their pockets.
Great. Thank you very much, Amber. And if I didn't say it, we are going to hold questions because I like to make sure that all of our speakers has adequate time to make their presentation. So our next speaker is Justin Sandler from Black Earth. Justin joined Black Earth Compost in 2011 when it was just a one-person company. He admits that he isn't a lifelong composter, but got hooked when he first witnessed the steam coming off a backyard pile. He's now a partner at Black Earth Compost and has worked over the years as a driver, loader operator, door-to-door salesman, and everything in between to help spread the composting mission. Justin still wears quite a few different hats in the company, but is primarily focused on onboarding and educating new compost customers on the Cape and beyond. So Justin?
Thanks for having me, everybody. Justin Sandler, one of the owners at Black Earth, and I've seen it grow for the past 13 years, and seeing that trajectory of over a decade of growth. I'm super optimistic of where everything is trending. Are we going into restaurants and having to define what composting was? And we had a lot of people scratching their heads when Connor, the CEO, my friend, who founded the business, and I would approach them. They were wondering why we wanted their trash, and we got chased out of a few places, but now that trend is reversed, and we're actually being seeked out. So that's a nice reversal there. We've grown from we just started with really just a handful of eager residents up in Gloucester, Mass, where I'm from, and word of mouth spread that, hey, you know, these people are actually showing up, taking our food scraps, and it's being composted. So we're seeing the whole process through. We gained a little social proof, made a ton of mistakes along the way, and so we've grown from, we think of it as, it was a beat up, like 2001 Ford Ranger that we'd overload, take it to a friend's farm, and try to figure out how to compost everything. But through use of shovels and I think it was human calories, and those shovels have turned into skid steers and bobcats, and now front loaders and excavators. And our territory was just Gloucester, and then we take it to a friend's farm in Essex or Brickend's farm in Hamilton, where they would handle the composting. But now we have developed both sides of our business. So we haul food scraps, and that has its own series of challenges and logistical issues to work through. That's half the job. And then we dump it at our own site, where over the course of 6 months, we're handling the material in different ways depending on which site we bring it to. But in 6 months, we have a really top grade compost that we are extremely proud to sell. And not only do we just sell it for other folks to grow their own food, but I personally use it for me to eat. And we have a ton of analysis that goes into that, making sure it's abiding to all the standards of the federal and state government, and all those results are on our website as well. So currently we haul a little over 300 tons of material a week. We just hit 34,000 residents that we pick up from in total. But from residents, that's about an average of about 10 pounds per week per residential household, and then but up to, we also do offices and restaurants and schools, colleges, supermarkets, everything in between. There's a tremendous amount of this material out there that is still not being diverted away from landfills, and we are growing to capture as much of that as we physically, logistically can, and we need more spaces to process it, more sites. And so we currently have 3 sites in the state: Manchester by the Sea, Groton, Framingham, working with a couple other towns to hopefully work on an RFP to build our next site. But we haul from Worcester east all the way. I was just down in Wellfleet this morning. That's our new, that's our new, farthest point east. But Rhode Island is another awesome state that's really, there's a ton of momentum there for food scrap diversion, for composting. And so we think of food scrap diversion, not all food scrap that is diverted is composted. Anaerobic digestion is a whole nother conversation. We believe compost is, other than human or animal consumption, certainly below that. We think composting is the next best bet. Just a couple shots of various things that we're up to. First one with all the people in front of our trucks. That's one of our drivers showing up at a school that with the kids that are super eager about seeing exactly what happens with compost. What is compost? Why am I putting my why am I putting my food scrap in this bin? And once they see the actual work that goes into that, it goes into a truck, that truck goes where, it creates what. Once they see that whole cycle of it, like light bulbs start to really click. And it's the next generation, they're coming up with they have some energy behind, be it recycling plastics or recycling food scrap. They're eager, and we just need to keep giving them opportunities to fulfill what they know is right, and just a little bit of guidance. And so we come in and we'll stop by with a truck, we'll show them what we do, go in, talk to a class, But it really starts to click when we bring the compost back, and there's been a number of schools that actually have installed garden beds, and then the kids are not only creating the compost, but using it to grow food that they're eating, which is, you know, the ultimate goal. And then, so that's a bag of compost in front of, that's one of our key employees down there playing in the dirt. And that's our site in Groton. We have a building there, and those are windrows of compost next to it. And we're about to open our new flagship site in Manchester by the Sea, which has, that building's probably 5,000 square feet, but we have a 10,000 square foot building that we're about to open in Manchester by the Sea. And if anybody wants to come and check out any of our sites, completely, like, we welcome that. We want to show people where we're taking this material. We want to demystify our process, open it up to the public, and really engage folks and show people what compost is and why we're making it. And that's our residential bin down on the corner there. You might see those lining some streets, hopefully more on the Cape soon. Just some shout outs here. A couple local spots on the Cape that use our service. Wellfleet just got added this morning, so they didn't make the slide, but props to them as well. So as you can see, we pick up from centralized drop-off points, can be at transfer stations. So residents bring their food scrap, where we have our bins, and then we come by weekly or bi-weekly, and we empty all the food scrap into our truck. And then we just go to the next restaurant that might be participating, such as, like, they're all listed down there. Snowy Owl has been with us for quite some time. They're awesome. And a couple schools getting involved. We'd love to see more density. Really, our Cape route, honestly, it's a bit of a, there's not much density on it, but we know that the growth is coming, and in order to establish a route, we kind of just have to kind of go on a hope and prayer that the density is going to fill in over time, and it has, but it's been a little slow. The Cape is tough because it's a bit seasonal. So that's the whole pie, and we are taking almost, upwards of 40% of it. We did a waste audit in Groton, and we actually found it was about 40% of the material in that trash was compostable. The range is like 25 to 40, regardless of what that specific number is. It's a lot, and not only is it high volume, but it's high nutrient content. And Black Earth Compost aims to be like somewhat of a public utility. This might be a little far-fetched, but we're thinking of it as like a public utility that is like your local nutrient recycler. So we want to take in the nutrients of the food scrap, and we want those nutrients redistributed locally, be it at farms or in our backyards. And if that material isn't being diverted out of the trash, or if it is going into trash, the journey it takes to be fully processed is kind of a nightmare right now, especially in Massachusetts. It's usually incinerated, and then the ash from the incinerators, you still have to deal with that. So it's one trip to the incinerator, it's burned, and then it's put on a train, and it can be carted away as far as Alabama currently. So our solution that we've been working on for a while is having distributed compost sites throughout the state, and each one handles X number of tons, and it acts as kind of a centralized hub. And we're trying to just kind of stamp these out. Currently we have 3, hopefully 4 soon, but they're tricky to site. They're tricky to find land to do so. Just our buckets there. That's like the standard one. Standard ones we use, 64, 30, 48, 32, and then 13. So on the left would be, restaurants, and then like a 32 would go to like heavy, dense material, perhaps a brewer for their grain or for coffee grounds. And then again, the resident the residential bin. And then behind it is the size, that's the size of our truck. We're not operating CDL, we're under, well, we're all under CDL size, so we don't have massive trucks coming through. And ideally, we're going to transition our fleet over to electric. Right now, the price of an electric equivalent of that truck is, it's about 2.5 times. So it'd be a lot of investment, but we're getting there. The price should come down, and we are actively pursuing electric fleets. That's just kind of a recap of what I've been rambling about. That's the process there. We take it in, we mix it. We do add oxygen to it, so we use static aeration piles. So we're forcing air into the piles to help with bacterial growth. That expedites the process, but also lowers the potential for odors. And then we screen it in the end, and then we get compost out. And I wish it was that easy. But, so the screening portion, it's like, well, actually, there's a slide on contamination, so I'll just skip ahead to that. These are all the products that we do, except food scraps, paper products, but then the certifications on the compostable plastics are incredibly important. There's a ton of greenwashing out there going on, allegations of being friendly for the planet, whatever. Biodegradable, omnidegradable, hydrogradable. We've seen all of these things stamped on products that mean nothing really, unless it does have one of these stamps on it, it probably won't break down in 6 months, and it probably will contain either PFAS chemicals or other chemicals we do not want in our compost, and that we test for and are under the thresholds. Just quickly on contamination, we say the bane of our existence is the fruit sticker. So not only is it made of plastic, but it's a small size that slips through our screener. So it's really the bigger chunky plastics that are better in essence, because we can extract the meat more easily. But fruit stickers come out, so we have a nice dark, and straws I put on the same. Nice big pile of compost, but you can see it's speckled in there. Fruit stickers. So we have to hire folks to go through, and I've spent hours, it's almost meditative, but it's underlying frustration that you're also working through, plucking those out. Hopefully that changes like tomorrow. We got to stop putting sticky trash on the food. And other sources of contamination we take very seriously for preventing that, because it's tough to extract once it's in our truck and it's coming to our site. Costs, they kind of vary a bit, and so it depends on your total volume that you're creating at your establishment. For residents, all the pricing is easy. It's very straightforward. It's available right on our website, depending on what town you live in. But for restaurants, it's generally for one of those big bins, it's like $20 to $26 per bin, depending on how many total you have. If you have quite a few, like a college, that price would come down from there. And each one of those bins holds about 200 pounds of food scrap. Yeah, so we came up with the tagline, compost, grow, eat, repeat. So we will start at grow. So you're growing your vegetables, you're going to eat it, but there's going to be scrap left over. So you sort that, put it on the curb. Either you or we will compost it for you. You get that compost back. You're going to apply that to your garden and grow more food. And that is the circle that we're trying to promote. And be it at a school doing that, or residents, even some restaurants actually use our compost, and we pick up their food scrap as well. That is kind of the flywheel that we're trying to accelerate.
Yes, I thought I saw the slides in advance. But all of these slides said they go into more detail, but we will have them posted on the Take Care Cape Cod website. So you'll be able to review them all. and our speakers will, all their information is also on the slides. So our next speaker is Samantha Salvatore with the Center for Eco-Technology, excuse me. She's a program consultant at the center, which many of us know as just CET, which administers the Recycling Works in Massachusetts program for the Mass DEP. Her job is to assist businesses across the Commonwealth with waste reduction and diversion, providing direct support over phone and email, and producing written content to educate and inspire businesses to make change. Samantha has an MBA and is a true zero waste advisor. Samantha.
Hello, can you all hear me? Yeah. Okay, wonderful. I think I'm going to stand up and go over here. So I'm just going to give a little overview of the Recycling Works in Massachusetts program and some resources that we offer. Sorry.
Do you want to do it or do you want me to click?
I'll try.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's see. Okay, so Recycling Works in Massachusetts is again a Mass DEP funded program, and it's delivered under contract by the Center for Eco-Technology. Recycling Works is a business recycling assistance program, and we offer free technical assistance and other services and resources to businesses to help them comply with the waste bans and achieve any other sustainability goals. Okay, I was going to briefly speak about the waste bans, but Carrie, thank you so much for going over those already, so this will be available in our slides. Okay, jumping into resources. Recycling Works has developed a wasted food estimation guide. You can use various different criteria, for example, meals served, number of employees, to get an estimate of how much wasted food you may be generating in a week. And this is to help see whether or not you may be subject to the newly lowered threshold for the commercial food waste ban. We also have visual representation to help you estimate. So for example, up in the corner here, 1/2 ton of food waste fills about 4 of these 64-gallon carts. So sometimes it's nice to get a visual that way as well. So this is a resource available for free on our website. We also have a hotline service, so phone and email. Please get in touch if you have any questions about tricky materials, you're looking to expand a program. We can provide direct support through our hotline service. We also offer no-cost technical assistance to businesses. This involves one of our amazing waste reduction consultants speaking with you and conducting a waste assessment. That can be either done virtually or we can come on site. And then they will create a customized set of recommendations, a report for you to choose whatever solutions you wish to implement, and then we'll kind of stay with you and support you through implementing those solutions at your business. There's a lot involved in our technical assistance that we can offer, but I'm not going to go through it all, and I'll be around later if you want to chat more. So this is sort of the backbone of our website. It's called the Find a Recycler tool. It is a searchable database, so you can just select from a drop down on the left there any material that you're looking to get recycled or diverted. Pop in your location, hit search, and a list of results come up by location of service providers, whether they can come pick up your material or they offer a drop-off site. So if you ever have trouble with this or you're not finding what you're looking for, give us a call on the hotline and we'll help you out. I just wanted to show a quick example of some signage that we can offer and customize as part of our technical assistance. So this is a food scrap signage, dual language, English and Spanish. We can customize based on the specific needs of your business, and we can also add logos. Apologies, this is a little bit small, but I just wanted to highlight some of our best management practices guidance documents that we've developed. There's 4 here. One we have is for source reduction. We have developed one for food donation, one for source separation, and one for contracting for trash recycling or wasted food. So these are all available on our website. Great. I'm going to skip over that one for now, but you'll See you later. A quick shout out for our other program that is also funded by the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection called the Green Team, focused on K through 12 schools in Massachusetts. This is free for administrators, teachers, and principals to register their school or classroom. And once a school or classroom is registered, they can apply for free recycling equipment. That's like recycling carts, set-out bins, outdoor composting bins. So this is available, and the website has a bunch of free resources, curriculum, lesson plans. So just wanted to shout that out as well. Oops. Okay, I wanted to highlight Johnny's Luncheonette that we worked with. They won a Mass Recycle Award for their work to divert food waste. They're working with Black Earth Compost, and they collect 600 to 700 pounds per week for composting, and they have reported reduced nuisance conditions in the trash area. So Johnny's has also partnered with Recyclable to run a reusable takeout container program. And I wanted to specifically highlight this as Recycling Works is working to develop another best management practices guidance document about this type of program. Okay, again, a lot of words, I apologize. But Recycling Works, on behalf of Mass DEP and Mass DPH, is conducting a series of stakeholder meetings so that we can get input from all the right stakeholders to develop this set of best practices for implementing a reusable container takeout program like the one at Johnny's and Jessica, yes. So we are modeling this after our past best management practice guidances that we've developed. For this one, we really want to ensure food safety and consistency with the food code. So we're really looking for input from key stakeholders such as state and local public health officials, regional restaurant owners, food service businesses, professionals, et cetera. We want your input, we want you to participate. We're really hoping to shape a framework for this guidance document that promotes sustainability, circularity, but also really meets some of the more practical needs and challenges of business owners in the food service industry. So we really want to work together on that and build something nice and robust. Our next meeting is on December 7th. So if you're interested in participating, please give us a call or an email or talk to me afterwards. We would really love to have your input. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks, Samantha. Okay, we'll open it now for questions. Carrie?
Yeah, Meg, I just have a comment. I'm sure you've heard this, and a lot of people in this room have. Justin, for EV trucks, there is a grant through the VW lawsuits. So there's a lot of money that's out there for those types of transitions. So I don't know if you've looked into them or heard of them. I'm assuming you have, but I just thought I'd bring that up.
You heard it.
Yeah, I'll just respond to the grant situation quick. We do have somebody dedicated to researching these grants. I hope that's on the list, and I'll make note of it right now to confirm that. But it's been tricky for us to find a centralized place that we can go to and find what grants are appropriate for us. So any resources like that would be super helpful as well. And we did just we qualified for a USDA grant, actually a federal one, to help build our site in Manchester by the Sea. And that's just going to accelerate all this.
The VW lawsuit.
Phil?
Hello, Phil Goddard, Town of Warren. Justin, nice to see you in person. We use Flat Earth. ISPON, by the way, not DPW. We work with DPW. The slide here, Dick Falmouth credit too. Falmouth was the leader that inspired us. Two questions. One question, or if you know this, is there a bill or any kind of regulation proposed to change to paper labels for the low SKU codes to go on the vegetables and the fruits that are the bane of your existence?
How did we forget to put you on that?
Yeah.
I apologize for not giving you all the shout out.
Well, they're just throwing my part.
Okay. Oh, I got you. Okay, perfect.
But how do we help you with those stickers?
We did an awareness campaign, and the grassroots kind of lower level, just like we did some sort of giveaway that if you filled out this piece of paper that has a drawing of our tractor on it with fruit stickers, just to spread awareness to like kids in schools and super engaged there. More at like the legal level, there's a lot happening with like food packaging, and I believe something is in there to at least make them compostable or have like a soy-based ink sketching on there. I don't know of a specific mandate that they're working
We
on.
need to hear from you about alternatives we can help you promote with the supermarkets, et cetera, paper-based, soy. So the other thing is an encouraging update, talking to Carrie, next week, if you come down at the military base, there's a meeting with Mark Forrest from the county, who's the commissioner, leading the way for the county's efforts to site a facility at the base with the general there. Consolidation's on the topic there. We're partnering together to locate on the Upper Cape, remote from the residents and the owners and all of that. So I think that'd be good to hear from you as a potential vendor. So moving forward, but it is, you nailed it, it's extremely difficult to host and site, and nobody wants it because if you don't manage it, it gets odors very quickly. We've talked about this for over 10 years in the Cape, so it's reviews have been done already, but I think we have an opportunity here. So a little bit of encouraging news, fingers crossed, the county, and with Carrie's taking the lead, and the county administrator and the county commission.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. And we have, years of proof now that it can be done.
Yeah.
And if there are questions about it, we can show you how it can be done. We use, a lot of air moving equipment and biofilters help liquid management and proper composting techniques, but we have, over a decade of experience doing it and doing it well. But happy to be included in that.
Jesse?
For Justin, are your bags filled with compost compostable?
That's a great question. We get that frequently. No, they're petroleum-based plastic. There is not, the issue is mainly that when it's in contact, when our compost is in contact with a compostable bag, the bag will compost. And it's unfortunate, but we also rely heavily on diesel to run our trucks and our equipment. So there's certainly a carbon footprint that we're making. Always looking to get better and transition away, but petroleum plastic for our bagged product that's probably going to be what we're using for quite some time.
And just to follow up, is it because obviously those bags, the whole compost and mulch and all this stuff that you get at, landscaping stores, businesses, I don't know that's not a recyclable product, it's dirty. Is there anything out there, any companies out there actually making those or that are from something else, from non-petroleum-based products?
I can think perhaps like a burlap sack, but that's not going to keep, if it gets rained on, there's issues there. The other limitation of compostable plastics is the millimeter thickness of it, and there's just no way you can pick up a 40-pound bag of compost in compostable plastic currently. And I'm not sure otherwise, to be honest. But it's a totally fair critique.
Go ahead.
Hi, I had a question for Amber, ReThink Disposable.
Could you speak up, please?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Here comes the
For Amber
microphone.
with ReThink Disposables. I heard that you guys don't help businesses that have bans in place. Is that a different organization?
Can you explain just a little bit about what a ban?
Yeah, so Yarmouth just passed, it doesn't go into effect until January 1st, 2025, but it's a plastic reduction bylaw to ban plastic takeout containers and utensils. So the group that I'm in was thinking about reaching out to you guys to help businesses, but I was told that you don't help businesses if there's like a ban in the town. But could you do it before the ban goes into effect?
It really definitely depends on where we're going to be getting the funding from. So I believe that would be, Plastic Free Restaurant would say that they would not subsidize something that's going to be a mandate for a restaurant to have to do. But there are other funding that we do have. So it's definitely something I would definitely suggest you reach out to me and I can see, you know, where we can find other funding to help.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And then I also had a question for Justin. So my restaurant that I've worked for this summer, we tried doing composting with Black Earth. It was honestly challenging with the staff and everything like that. And then also just our quantity. Like we had, I think, 5 64-gallon totes, and we went through that within the weekend. And then we had to wait for Friday for them to be picked up. And then also the bins really started to smell, but my owners were, like, I kind of talked them into doing it, saying it would like reduce their trash cost, but so they didn't want to pay to get the totes clean. Is there like, also, do you think in the future you guys might ever go into like having like a dumpster, like giving that to restaurants, or doing like, I know that you can do twice a week, but again, they didn't want to pay the extra fee. So like, how can we like scale up? You know, for restaurants?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I guess we can take it from the last one first, the dumpster thing. And once you start doing dumpsters of it, that's going to make the efficiency of our pickup tricky, because when you're operating with roll-offs, you can really only do that one stop, and then you go back to your site. And if our site is in Framingham or potentially Bourne even, that's a lot of back and forth right there. So that's a limitation. There's a further limitation in the winter with food scrap becoming frozen. And there have been companies that were doing dumpsters, and they'll get the whole dumpster. They'll try to shake the material out of the dumpster, and they'll get the dumpster in the back as well. On top of that, it gets tricky with cleaning. A dumpster is physically very expensive, and they're made out of steel, and steel is going to rust quickly if it's holding food scrap. Certainly our bins also have trade-offs as well, and you just spoke to them very well, especially on the Cape. It's tricky for us to be as flexible as we would like to be with regards to frequency of pickups. So if we're in a town where our site is, we can do 7-day-a-week hauling. So potentially, if we had a site closer to the South Shore, maybe, and enough demand from the Cape, we could run a route 3 days a week up here and hopefully alleviate that. The bin's getting dirty. It's another issue. It's tricky for us to truck water and food scrap. It's heavy. It's like the worst thing to truck is liquid. But we're working on like a low volume, high pressure washing system to add to our trucks, which everybody would appreciate. So that's in the pipeline. We have a great, we design and build a lot of this stuff ourselves. It's why we accelerated over the past decade, be it cart lifts or weird machines at the site that are up to all sorts of things. But bin washing is another frontier. And was there one more piece of that I missed? Or the cost, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So cost versus trash, it's really tough to say because there's so much variation in trash negotiation, and there's variation of who the trash haulers are. Usually composting is a savings if you're having a dumpster of trash removed, like a full compacting dumpster of trash removed from your site. But that's really high volume. So like restaurants, honestly, it will likely be, it will probably be an added cost, but it should be used to structure your trash agreements. If you're saying I'm composting, I'm taking X number of pounds out, then you can approach your hauler. But it's really up to the trash hauler to decide if they're going to reduce their rate.
Yeah, it just didn't take down the volume of trash that we had enough to get our trash picked up less. But that's just, also this restaurant's in Harwich, the water limits, we have to use all disposable serviceware, so we have a lot of trash, so.
Yeah, a last recommendation on that, I mean, we don't have to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So if you're just doing a bin, that's 200 pounds every single week that you are removing. So we see a lot of stress of like a restaurant coming in and worrying that they have to get every little piece. And it's like, I don't know, just, focus on lobster shells, or the oyster shells, or something very defined, that can be easier to manage.
Okay, actually, I have a question. Amber, you mentioned plastic-free restaurants. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Is that a group or?
Plastic Free Restaurants is a gentleman, John Charles Mayer, who does not take a salary, and he fundraises money specifically to give out to restaurants and schools to purchase reusable items. His focus is mainly on switching petroleum-based plastics to non-petroleum items or stainless steel, metal. And he's a great resource. We've partnered with him, I believe, for the last 12 years that ReThink Disposable has been operating. And so we are the main avenue to get that funding from Plastic Free Restaurants. So if someone is interested in how that process works, I would definitely say reach out to me. We have a really great relationship with John, and we're currently working together in all the states that we're in.
Well, I think between the three of you, there are a lot of untapped, I suspect, resources. I know I've heard about quite a few funding opportunities that I think the schools can apply to, the businesses can apply to. You just have to sometimes take the time and apply to them. But now you have a direct connection in at least 3 organizations. So don't hesitate to go on their websites, take a look at the slides that we'll be furnishing to you, and see if there's something that might help your business. Again, take even that first step. You don't have to do it all. You've heard that from the first group, and now you're hearing it from the resources group too. You don't have to do everything at once. You can take baby steps because there's still a step. There's still a step. And so please, I encourage you to look into what they can offer and take advantage, take this information back to your associates, to your own chambers of commerce, to your schools, et cetera, and take advantage of it. These are programs that work and that can provide funding that's needed to get these off the ground. Any other questions? Yes, one more in the back.
Yeah, I just had a question for Justin, and that's a question for Justin from Wellesley. We're very happy that you're coming to town and looking forward to educating summer restaurants and meeting the waistband reduction goal. I know that you accept PLA, and I'm just wondering with windrow composting how that's working, and do you have a too much of it problem?
There's a question of, the PLA plastic, so compostable cup, any clear compostable plastics. And again, as long as it has a PPI certification on it, it will break down in the amount of time we need. And it might even break down faster than some of the food scrap. And we've done testing with companies. We've dedicated portions of our compost piles to actually prove, not only for their sake, but for our sake too, that they are in fact breaking down and not leaving any trace chemical behind.
Okay, so why don't we give them all a round of applause, please? And Jill is around here somewhere. So you are dismissed.
Thank you, Megan, our panelists. We're moving into, I've got one exciting, fun thing before you all get to have lunch and really kind of chit chat with each other and discuss what you've learned today and how you want to take things forward. So I'm just preparing a few things here for our annual Stewardship Awards. So each year we acknowledge an individual or an organization within our community, as well as a youth organization or individual youth. And so we have two things to present here. So this year's youth recipient was nominated by one of their teachers. They are seniors at Sturgis Charter Public School West Campus, and they are current leaders of the school's Green Club after a successful year as dedicated members last year. Every week, they have collected recycle bins from every classroom on campus, continuing a fairly recent effort by the Green Club itself to initiate recycling program, which their school previously did not have. The club's advisor described them as some of the most dedicated and reliable members of the club. Last year, they also helped host and promote a Hyannis open house for the PFAS study being conducted by Cape Cod Silent Spring Institute, Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, and Easton Research Group. Looking forward, their goals for the 2023 and 2024 year is to continue and to expand the recycling program, raise awareness on recycling, and establish a compost program for their school. Their teacher stated, "The care that these two students show for our local environment gives me hope for the future." So it gives us all hope too. So it gives me great pleasure to invite out this year's Youth Stewardship Award recipients, Ben Bass and Colby Hall. If I'd known, I would have gotten a step stool. So congratulations, and they're going to be joining us for lunch, so you get to meet them. Okay. I have one more thing for you guys.
This is wonderful. Thank you.
All right, see you at lunch.
Yay.
So this year's 2023 Stewardship Award recipients are represent an organization that is really shining and setting an example for sustainability within our community. Reading some of the application from the nomination, it says they move towards sustainability by installing heat pumps, electric charging stations, solar energy that will provide power for their Nights Aglow event, if that gives you a little hint. They've studied how their trees and gardens remove carbon, and their new visitor center welcoming center will be made from wood that will need little or no maintenance. I think it's going to be better if they share the details and everything that they're doing, because they're really moving towards total zero waste. And last year we had the pleasure of hosting our summit at the Heritage Museums and Gardens. So we have Ann Scott Putney, the president and CEO, who's going to be coming out and accepting, as well as Judith Holt, who is one of their trustees. And it was the nominee, or the woman that nominated them, who heard Judith Holt present and share all the wonderful things that they're doing at Heritage that really inspired her and felt that they were worthy to nominate them. So please come out and accept this award. It's yours, though. Yep, and I'll let you share a little bit more of the detail of what you're up to.
Jill, thank you so much. It was a delightful surprise and a great honor to be, when Jill called me to let me know that we have been, that we're the recipient of this award. So I want to thank you very much, Jill. and all of those who support Care for the Cape and Islands. I'd also love to know who that nominee is, and I've just not, narrowed that slate to the 100 people that came to that program who heard Judith speak. Judith is one of our trustees. She is a longtime expert on renewable energy, and we're really fortunate that she partnered with us about 4 years ago to write an environmental strategic plan that has become part of our greater strategic plan that has really driven all the work that we've done on our 100 acres of woodlands, open space, gardens, and a vast array of different kind of buildings, everything from buildings dating to the 1600s to a new building that we're going to be starting construction on in early 2024. But overall, our big objective obviously is to reduce our carbon emissions. And I'm proud to report that we've already reduced our carbon emissions by 50% already in light of the state's goal to have organizations reduce carbon emission by 50% by 2030. So we're years ahead. The big message here is that our mission when it comes to environmental sustainability is to model and interpret environmental sustainability. And what we mean by that is that we are going to do it, and then we're going to tell you about how we did it so that you can do it too. It's a simple message, but that's what we're all about. And I'm grateful to Care for the Cape and Islands who have also helped us do that through some grants that we've gotten to help with the interpretation part. Think signs that you can read when you come to visit us that help visitors learn how we are going about those steps. The last thing I wanted to say, and I'm going to give it to Judith for just a moment, is that part of our mission as well with our plan is to teach other organizations how to do this work. And we've dubbed this the Beacon Project. And the mission of that is to have impact with other organizations. So Judith's just going to give you a word on that, and then we'll be at lunch today as well to help and answer questions.
I think that's my phone ringing.
That's your agent.
It's an agent, right. It's been an honor to work with Heritage Gardens and museums, and it's certainly an honor to be here today. We've worked hard, and one of the things about the buildings, I want to say, at Heritage is that they reflect a sampling of buildings across Cape Cod. So it gave us a really great way to model what can be done. One of the things we've done with the Beacon Project also, I've been working with churches across the Cape. I'm now working with over a dozen churches to help them analyze their energy use and reduce their carbon footprints. I'm also open to working with other nonprofits who have buildings. And so this is indeed an honor, and we very much appreciate being here, and we will be available at lunch.
Thank you all.
Good. So impressed. So who has been to Heritage Museums and Gardens? Great. Those who haven't raised your hands, you must go. They're closed for the season except for the Garden Aglow, which is an amazing holiday experience. But it's just, I went recently, they had a Cape Cod exhibit for 2 years, and of course I got to the museum, but I didn't get to the exhibit, and I got there for the last day. And it was so fun to see, for someone who's lived here for a long time, the history that they were sharing, so that it's not just the environment and gardens, but it's the culture and history of this special place. So anyway, it's a great place, and it's a great place to get out and enjoy getting some exercise. So we're going to invite you all into the cafeteria behind you, back in there, to have lunch. We have some two fabulous women who are going to be guiding on how to where to go and how to get in line and get your lunch. And then if you please look at your name badge, you have a number from 1 to 4, and if you don't see them, they will guide you to which table to go to. And then we will be having some facilitated conversation. You have a question before we?
Like the amount of awesome people in the room, I know I'm not going to be able to network with everyone, so how do you suggest we can share and network after this event? Like, what is your recommendation?
Well, what we want to do is build this coalition, and so we will be sharing information on how to gather for the next opportunity. I didn't ask permission to share the list, so I'm probably not going to do that. But we are, this is just the springboard to this coalition that we are, a working group that we're trying to build. So absolutely, you'll be hearing from us for sure.
Could we vote on sharing it right now and have that be okay?
I don't know who's in the room. You know, maybe what I can do is email everybody out and say, you know, you attended, and let me know if it's not okay to share your contact information. Alan?
Jill, I've attended a lot of your programs. I'd really like to congratulate you and the steering committee for putting this together. I think this is absolutely the best program you put together. This is panelists you put together. Thank you.
And so great opportunity for me to say, please, if you're on our steering committee, can you raise your hand and be acknowledged? Jesse from Coastal Studies, Meg Morris from Jim Miller from CARE, John Jans from CARE, Katie Atchison's on the committee, who's here somewhere. So, and we are looking to have more committee members. So if you like what you're seeing and you want to get involved for helping plan in the future, let us know. So. Go enjoy and have lunch, and thank you all for being here.
Creating a responsible environment that spells care.